So I've got a new type of video for you today where I just simply want to highlight a director and talk about their films. And this is a director that I don't see really anybody talking about, but I think he deserves so much more recognition. And so I want to talk to you about him today. But before I get into it, welcome back to The Haunted Beard, everybody. Thank you for joining me. My name is Jake. It's all horror and thriller movie content here on my channel, so listen. Do not click that subscribe button unless you want to be haunted by the beard. So without further ado, the director I want to talk about today that I don't see anybody talking about is Spanish director Oriol Paulo. And this guy has crafted a handful of really solid and impressive mystery thrillers. And so, like I said, I'm going to take you through his filmography. He's got 4 feature-length films and a mini-series to his credit. I'm going to just go through, give you a little bit of a plot synopsis and some thoughts about each one, and hopefully it will pique your interest and you will go check out this guy's films because, yeah, they are well worth it. So let's kick things off. His first film, feature film, directorial debut came out in 2012, and it is called The Body. Now, the setup here is really intriguing as the film opens with a security guard who is running through the forests late at night and crosses a road and gets hit by a car. And we're left with, what in the world just happened? Why is he running? Well, it turns out he's a security guard at a morgue, and a woman has gone missing. Something freaked him out to where he just up and left his post in the middle of the night. A woman has gone missing from the morgue, and a detective comes in to investigate the disappearance. And like with all of Paulo's films, this is just a really well-constructed, complex, and layered mystery that just pulls you right in. As this one too, you get just some really solid kind of eerie atmosphere and creepy atmosphere. The majority of the film takes place right there in the morgue. And I won't get too much into the details so as not to spoil anything, but eventually the detective calls in her husband, and you just kind of start peeling back the layers to this thing, and there is just so much going on. In addition to that setup, you have more or less what's like a locked room mystery here, where there's really only one way in and one way out of the morgue, and so they're trying to figure out how in the world could the body have gone missing when nobody saw anything, there's nothing on video. Is she still alive? Is she really dead? What in the world's going on? So yeah, just a great setup that I thoroughly enjoyed. Overall, just a captivating and interesting mystery that kept me guessing until the very end, which is another thing I can say for every single one of these. It got all sorts of twists and turns, and it's just a lot of fun watching it all play out and unfold and seeing how it all comes together in the end. So yeah, you can watch this one right now. It's streaming for free on Freevee, so I highly recommend go check out The Body. So the next film Paulo directed came out in 2016, and it is called The Invisible Guest. And this one tells the story of a successful entrepreneur accused of murder and the witness preparation expert who have less than 3 hours to come up with an impregnable defense. One of the things that I really liked about Invisible Guest is that part of the film takes place all in one location, as it's just this guy who is working with the witness preparation expert, and they're formulating his defense to try to get him off for murder. And they're just in this one room talking back and forth. And so you get a bit of this sort of stage play type presentation to it that I always love. And then the rest of it is really just told through kind of flashbacks of his memory and him recalling details. One of the recurring themes in most of Paulo's films is there's usually a relationship element to the movies. And so it's really interesting to kind of see how those things unfold in terms of who can you trust, who's manipulating who, are they being truthful, are they lying? And it's just another element of the mystery that he weaves right in the story that really just pulls you right in. This one too has just some really solid twists and reveals. I will say though, I was able to predict part of the final twist, but even with that, this is still one that I would give a very solid recommendation to. and just really enjoyed overall. Just like with all of these, there's just a lot of layers, a lot of complexities, a lot of twists and turns. And man, this one is just really top notch. The next film Paulo directed came out in 2018, and it is called Mirage. And Mirage is about two overlapping stories separated by 25 years. In one story, a woman is murdered. In the other story, a daughter disappears. And they only have 72 hours to solve the mystery and the connecting link between both of these events. And Mirage is a little bit different from the rest of Paulo's work, as this introduces a little bit of a fantasy sci-fi element to it. There's a film that came out in 2000 or the very early 2000s called Frequency, starring Jim Caviezel and Dennis Quaid, where this father and son are able to use this like radio box to communicate to each other from the past and the future. And there's a bit of an element to that in this movie Mirage, as there is this electrical type storm that occurs in 1989 and then again 25 years later. And through the radio signals, two people are able to communicate from the past and in the present. And so Mirage is definitely the most fantastical of Paulo's mysteries, but I still recommend it. I'm typically more of a fan of kind of a more grounded, realistic approach, but I got on board with it, and I think what helps is that there's still, I think, a really compelling mystery, but he also does a really good job here with the characters to kind of help you get invested in what happens with them and how everything works out. And so if you're a fan of more sci-fi, bit of parallel dimension, time travel type stuff, I would definitely recommend Mirage. Mirage is streaming right now on Netflix, so go check it out. So next up, Paulo directed a miniseries, 8-episode miniseries, also on Netflix called The Innocent, and this came out in 2021. And this is based on a Harlan Coben book. This one tells the story of Mateo Vidal, who is jailed for negligent homicide for 4 years, and once released, he makes his living with his beloved wife, Olivia. Once their life has stabilized, a phone call changes everything. The past leaves no one behind, and many secrets will force them to try to prove their innocence. And let me tell you, that plot synopsis barely does this justice, as Paulo, now who helped adapt Coben's book, and Coben also adapting his book, teaming together, man, this 8-episode series is wild. This thing gets into some pretty dark places. There's definitely a conspiracy type thriller element to the mystery. A lot of interesting characters, a lot of details and just complexities. The Innocent has a unique presentation in that the beginning of each episode delves into the backstory of one of the main characters. And so there's just a lot of really good character work here. And it's just got twists and turns for days. It seems like every new reveal, it leads to more questions and more mystery. And like I said, this one definitely goes to some darker, more disturbing places. But man, I just had a really good time with it. It looks like Paulo's next project is another mystery thriller miniseries. And man, I can't wait to see what he does. I think he just really thrives in this format when you get more time to flesh out the mystery and the characters. The lead performance by Mario Casas, who's also the lead in The Invisible Guest, is really solid here as well. And so if you haven't checked this thing out yet, I highly recommend it. Like I said, it's on Netflix, so go check it out. And finally, just last year, Paulo released God's Crooked Lines. And this is also available to watch on Netflix. And it just so happens that I saved the best for last, as this is my favorite film out of all of his stuff. And man, I cannot believe that this movie didn't get more recognition, that more people weren't talking about it. And I just finished watching it yesterday or the day before. And I'll honestly tell you right now, if I could update my 2022 best of list, this would be in my top 5 of last year. This is a fantastic film. And this tells the story of this woman by the name of Alice who is checked into a psychiatric hospital to investigate a murder. And man, I absolutely loved this thing. And if you are a fan of movies like Shutter Island, I would definitely recommend this. It's not quite as dark or creepy as that, but the setting is very similar, and you get some similar vibes and atmosphere to it. And man, the mystery here is just fantastic. This is a film where there is a large aspect of this unreliable narrator where you're not really sure if you can believe or trust the information that you're being presented. And the film does such a good job of really balancing that, of giving you stuff to where, okay, you think you believe it and you think you're getting the truth, and then other stuff where you question everything. The unreliable narrator is one of my most favorite tropes, and I think in terms of that, this film does it as well as any film ever has, as this thing kept me going back and forth and guessing throughout the entire thing. Man, I thoroughly enjoyed this. There is a reveal that occurs about 3/4 of the way through the film that totally took me by surprise. I did not see coming at all. The lead performance by Barbara Lenny, who plays Alice, is really solid. And in addition to just a really captivating mystery that is, like all of these, just got all sorts of twists and turns, and of course will keep you guessing right up until the very end, this has just some really solid scenes between characters as things get intense and tensions rise and emotions run high, and conversations between characters are just, man, they're just really well done. And I don't want to get into the specifics because that's just some of the fun as far as what's going on and what they're talking about and everything. But man, I thoroughly enjoyed this. This is one of the very best films of all of last year, and I highly recommend it. I can't recommend it enough, and it's streaming right now on Netflix. I don't know how this thing flew under the radar, but I had not seen really anybody talking about it. And yeah, you need to watch it, so go check it out. So those are just some of my thoughts on Paulo's films. I hope you enjoyed this video and you got something out of it. Let me know down below if you've seen any of his films, which ones you saw, and what your thoughts were. But yeah, this is a guy that needs more recognition. I think he is a very talented, not only director, but writer as well. I cannot wait until his next project comes out. I'm very much looking forward to it, and this guy needs more recognition. So check out Oriol Paulo right now. Anyways, that's all I got for you. Thank you so much once again for watching. I greatly appreciate it, and I'll see you next time on The Haunted Beard.